If you're a service-based business, whether you're a consultancy, agency, or dev house, you've probably fallen into the trap of managing your projects with some messy spreadsheets with your project details, task details, invoice details, and maybe even just communicating back and forth with your clients via email, sending Google Drive links, and everything's just all over the place. What you need is a client portal, and that's basically taking all this messy spreadsheet data and converting it into this beautiful, sleek client portal where you can manage your projects, clients, team, invoices, and a whole lot more just through one online client portal. That means anyone in your team can log into the client portal, they can manage their tasks and projects, and your clients can also log in. If you ever need them to submit any attachments or any details, you can request it through the client portal, and basically your entire engagement with your clients happens in one simple and beautiful user interface that is just a breeze for both your team and your clients. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to build this client portal step by step using my favorite no-code tool, which is Softr. You just need to go to softr.io. Once you create an account, you can then click this button to either start from scratch, or you can start from a template where you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff. You can create portals, internal tools, dashboards, CRMs, etc. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to set up the client portal template. All right, most of the heavy lifting's already been done for you, so you can just click preview, and then you can click this button which says use template. Next, it's going to ask you where is your data stored. So you can see I've already previously connected my Google Sheets, but you can always click add another data source, and then you can see all the options it gives you. You can connect to your Airtable tables, Notion, Google Sheets, SmartSuite, and there's a whole bunch of other options, even SQL, and you can use your own data to create these applications. So your data will be the back end, and then Softr will be used to build the front end, which in our case is the client portal. So I'm just going to select Google Sheets, click continue. I'll then sign in with my account, click continue, approve the permissions. So this is what you call Softr Studio, and this is where you build out your client portal. So I'm just going to rename it. So it's currently called Client Portal Softr Template. I'm going to call that Futurize Portal. So Futurize is my company name, and we are going to be using dummy data. So all of this isn't my real data. So this is just dummy data that I set up just to make it easy for you to actually build this out and follow along. So I'd highly recommend you do that. In the description of this video, I will include both this template that we are using, as well as a link to this Google Sheets file that you can go and copy paste. I highly recommend that you build along with this video because it'll really fast track your learning, and then you can go ahead and build your own client portal for your company. So just to get familiar with the user interface, you can see at the top, you can toggle between desktop, tablet, and mobile to see what your portal will look like on different devices. So it already handles the responsiveness for you, so you don't need to set that up. If you have ever built a website, you'd know what a headache it is to go and build in responsive settings so that it looks good on mobile. But with Softr, it's all handled for you. Then on the left hand side, you can see here are all the pages that come with this template, stuff like the projects, the tasks, invoices, team members, clients, and I'm going to be showing you how we're going to set up all these things, all these pages. Then there's the theme. This is where you can customize fonts and colors and stuff like that. Then we have the users over here. This is where you handle who has access to your application, and that's referring to both yourself as the admin, your employees, your clients, as well as freelancers if you hire freelancers within your company. Then there's the general settings. So I'll start here and I'll come to general settings. We already gave it an application name, Futurize Portal. We can rename the subdomain. So it's serene. I'll just call it futurize.softr.app. You can also publish this to your own custom domain. So for example, portal.futurize.com. It will basically be a fully white labeled solution, and it'll look like you built that product completely from scratch without any branding from Softr. All right, next I'm going to remove this default logo and I'll replace it with mine. So I'll select my logo, add that. Then you can also add a square logo, as well as a favicon, which is basically just a smaller version of your square logo. And if you're wondering what a favicon is, it's that icon that shows up in the tab over there. You can also remove the Softr branding if you want. I think you'd have to be on the pro plan to do that, so you can just disable that and it'll hide any Softr branding. I'll leave it on for now. If you want to preview what your app looks like, you can just click this preview button. It should then open in a new tab and you'll then be able to see what your project portal looks like. I'll just zoom in a bit so it's easier to see, and then you can use this left pane to navigate between tasks and projects and all that. And then what's really cool is at the top left, you can click this little drop down and you can choose if you want to preview as either a client or as individual person that you uploaded under your users. So for example, if you want to see the admin view, you can select this Olivia Brown. So let's click Olivia Brown. Okay. And because we're in admin mode now, we should be able to see all the projects and the details about all the clients, etc. All right. And what's really cool about Softr is you can assign permissions to different roles. So, for example, you might not want your employees to see something, but you as the admin need to see it. Or maybe you only want your clients to see something and you don't want your employees to see something, or whatever the case is. All of those permissions can be handled under the visibility settings in Softr. And I'll also show you all of that. When building out your client portal, the first thing you want to do is you want to go to users, and what I usually like to do is I just want to delete everything that comes in the template. So you can select everything, then click the little bin. It's going to prompt you to type in delete 15 users forever. So I'll just copy paste that, click delete. All right. I'm also going to delete these. Great. So now we have a blank slate. We have no users, and you might have seen in my Google Sheets, I have a sheet here called user details, where I include a whole bunch of fields, which includes the person ID, the person name, photo, role, company, email, website, and phone number. You can see under the person ID, for C1, C2, C3, C4, those are the clients. And that C is basically saying this is the clients. So these are the contact people at that company, and this is the company name. All right, then we have these, which start with an E. Those are the employees. All right, and those all work at this company, which is Futurize, which is my company. And then we have the ones starting with F, which are the freelancers, and those are the companies that the freelancers work for. Back in Softr, you want to come here and click Sync with Data Source, and you want to choose your Google Sheets. So they're both the same in my case. To connect your documents, we want to connect Futurize dummy data, but you can see it's not showing there. So you can just click this little refresh icon if it's not showing, and there it is, Futurize dummy data. Then within here, you want to select the sheet. Our users are in the user details sheet. So if you're wondering where that's coming from, that's over here. It says user details in that sheet. And then we can either choose selected rows. I want to select all of them. We can also then map some fields. So like the email. All right. We can map the email. We can also map the person's name. And then the avatar. Let's maybe just choose their role for that. And then click save and sync. And now you can see it has synced all of our users into our database. I should just warn you, if you ever do come here and delete any users, it will delete that data directly from the Google Sheet. You need to be careful when, even in preview mode, if you delete anything, it's going to be deleting your actual data. Next, what you want to do is you want to assign user groups. So for example, Ethan, we know Ethan is an employee. I would probably set myself as an admin. Ethan, we can come here and we can select this drop down and choose the group, and we choose employee and click save. So we have Aiden, George, and Ethan as the employees. So I'm just going to go set all of those up here. Then for myself, I'm going to set myself as an admin. Then we can set Olivia, Cheyenne, and Sophia as freelancers. There you go. And then the rest of them are all clients. So I'll just go and set those. Great. So now all of our user groups have been assigned. Then we have user groups. So you can see here are four main groups: admin, clients, employee, and freelancer. If you like, you can delete these or edit them. All right. To use freelancer, you're going to need to have the pro plan. And then the default groups are logged in users and logged out users. So that's basically just for permissions, because you don't want to give a logged out user permissions to view certain things. But you don't really need to worry too much about that, because the template handles all of those permissions for you. Next, for authentication, you want this to be enabled where you allow users to log in with an email and password. All right, you do have other options like magic links and single sign-on and Google sign-in, but in general, you just want to use an email and password. You can also control who gets invited to use the app by setting it to disabled, which means only you can invite somebody to actually sign up. Or you can set it to open if you want to allow anyone to sign up. But since it's an internal tool between your clients and your employees, you'd want to set this to disabled. Let me show you how to actually invite someone to create an account. So if you want to invite your clients and your team members to actually use the client portal, you can do that directly here in the user section, where you can select the individuals and then you can click this invite button. But you actually first need to publish the application. So I'm just going to do that. I'll come click publish. There's my subdomain. I'm going to click publish. All right. And then it gives us the option to send invites to all 11 users. Since these are made up email addresses, I'm just going to say I'll do it later, but you could just click send now. So I'll click I'll do it later. Great. And I'm just going to send an invite to myself just so you can see what it looks like. So now I'll click invite, send. So now I'm going to go to my Leon at Futurize inbox. So here is the email it just sent me. You've been invited to Futurize portal. All right. Click on this link to log in. So if you click here, the user will then be able to set their password. All right. And after they click confirm, they'll then be able to log in with their email address and password. Great. So it's super simple to do. I'll close that. If you're wondering where that's all handled, it's actually here in the pages. If you scroll down to the utility pages, you can see there's a login page, a forgot password page, a reset password page, etc. Now that the back end is sorted out, let's go and start building out the front end. So I'm going to go to pages and I'll start right at the top at dashboard. All right. We're not going to include all of these. I'm going to delete some of them, but I will just keep the most important ones and the most commonly used ones. And once you know how to set one or two of them up, you'll get the gist of it and you'll be able to create any page in Softr. So here's the dashboard page. So you can see it includes a whole bunch of stuff like my projects, active projects, outstanding tasks, milestones, unpaid invoices. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide all of these. All right. You can also delete them by clicking delete, but I might want to use them later. So I'm just going to hide them, which means it won't be visible to anyone. And the only thing I'm going to keep on my dashboard is basically this welcome message. Okay. So you can see it says welcome back. And then it has a variable over there, which is the logged in user's name. So what will happen is, let me show you in the dashboard. If I come here, it's going to greet the user by name. Welcome back, Ethan. So let me show you how to set that up. So you want to make sure you click on this block. Then on the panel on the right-hand side under source, you want to select your source, which is Google Sheets. Okay. You can also connect multiple different data sources within one client portal. So in this project, we're only going to be using Google Sheets, but just know that you can actually come here, click add another source, and also use data from Airtable and Google Sheets simultaneously, or from multiple of these in one application. So it just depends where your data is stored. So documents, I'm going to choose Futurize dummy data. And then the sheet, I'm going to go and select user details. And now what we want to do is we want to also create a conditional filter. Okay. And on here, we want to have an if condition, and only if the person ID, all right, remember we have the person IDs over here. So only if the person ID is, and you can choose a whole bunch of different conditions, for example, is not, contains, is any of, etc. Right? I'm going to say is, and then over here, I'm going to select the logged in users. So now it's going to check which user is currently logged in, and it's going to pull their person ID. So it's going to basically only pull in the data where the person ID is equal to the logged in user's person ID. And that's the name it'll show there. So let's go test this out. I'll click on preview and let's go see. It's opening up a new tab. And there you go. Welcome back, Sarah. And that's because I'm currently previewing as sarah@vespa.com. Let's go check out Mike Johnson, the client. Welcome back, Mike. There you go. So we can also add other details over here. So for example, let's say we want to include the company's logo over here, all right, or the person's picture. We can come back here and then we can go to content and we can scroll down and here list item fields under top section. You can enable that. And you can see it pre-populates some stuff for us, but I'm just going to delete all of these. We don't want any of the other stuff. We just want the photo. And you can see it's already mapped to the photograph. So it did that for us without us having to connect it. So it is quite smart in that sense. And now if we come back here, click refresh, it should include our cup of Starbucks coffee. There you go. And if we go to, say, one of our employees, like Aiden, it should show his photo. There you go. And you can also customize this how you like. If you come here, you can change this. Instead of saying, this is your private portal, you can say, this is your private Futurize portal. Great stuff. So now that our dashboard page is set up, let's go and set up our clients page. You can see it's currently got this dummy data that comes with a template. We want to remove this and put our actual client data, which we have in our Google Sheet in these 4 rows over here, clients 1 through 4. So I'm going to come here, go to pages, then you want to go to clients. And this is the clients page. All right. So you want to click on this block. And then under the source, you want to select your document, choose Futurize Dummy Data. And then in the sheet, we want to go to user details. Great. And you can see now it's showing all the users, but you can see it's combining both the employees, as you can see by the photos, and the logos, which is the companies. We want to only show the clients. We only want to show the ones with the logos. So how do we do that? If you're following along, you can try pause the video, create a condition, and see if you can get that working. Otherwise, I'll just show you. So you can click Add Condition, and then we can select a field. And the field we want to select is the person ID, and the check we want to do a contains, right? And then we want to check if it contains a custom value, which is the letter C. I'll click Add. So what are we actually doing in this condition? All right. We basically, we're looking through all of these different values in the person ID column, and only if the value contains the letter C, which means it's a client, only then return that row of data. So if we used E, it would have showed all the employees. If we chose F, it would have returned all the freelancers. So if we come back here and I click refresh, let's go check if this worked. And there you go. It's now showing all of our clients. You can see there's still a bit more work to be done because it says heading 1, company, and Starbucks. Let's go and fix this. By the heading 1, we wanted to write the company name over there. And below that, we wanted to write the contact person at that company. So if we come here, we can go then to content, and then we can scroll down. The photo is already set. All right, it's configured for us. You can see it's mapped to the photograph, which is the photo field coming over here. This is just stock footage I got from pixels.com. Okay. Then for heading 1, we want to map that to the company name. So I'll click company. Right, and for the text below it, we want, instead of it being the company again, we want it to be the person name. All right, and instead of it being just plain text, let me just show you what this looks like. If I refresh this, so you can see it has the word Starbucks, the word company, and then it has Mike Johnson, which is the contact person at that company. So let's say we want to actually show that as a tag instead of just text. We can choose tag over here, and now it will look a little bit better. Instead of it just being plain text, it'll have the tag Mike Johnson, Sarah Lee, etc. Okay, cool. You can see there's also some placeholders for the tags at the top there. What do we want to add there? Maybe the website. We can see the URL of the company right there. Okay, let's say we want to see the other details corresponding to each of these clients. If you click into it, you'll see it opens up this panel on the right-hand side, which is the client details. And you can also come and customize this over here so that I can show more details about the clients. Before I get to that, I first want to show you how the permissions work. So back in Softr Studio, if I come to the pages and on the clients here, I can click this little symbol here, And then under visibility, you can see this is the permission applied to the entire page. And that is basically saying only logged in users can see it, and only the admin, which I set to be myself, and the employees are able to see all the clients. So that means that your clients, or one of these individual clients, when they're logged into their portal, they won't be able to see who your other clients are. So that's also important for permissions. In fact, it won't even show the clients. So for example, if I sign in as a client over here and I click OK, let me just go back home and I choose a client like Mike Johnson, you can see it doesn't even show the clients over here. There's no panel for clients. And that can be set over here. If you click this left bar, scroll down here, there's clients over there. You can click that icon again, and this is the same permissions that I showed you now on the page level permissions. Within Softr, you can go a level down, which is the block level permissions. So within this block, you can come to visibility, and you can then assign permissions from the block level. So you can see it's currently all users. That's not the case because the page permissions blocking the clients from seeing it. You can also go a level up, and within the users, you can come here to data restrictions and you can select global data restrictions. All right, so that will apply to the whole application instead of just at the page level or at the block level. Coming back to our client page, if I click into this block and I come to actions over here, there is a little setting here that when there's a click on the item, so if one of these items are clicked, it then navigates to the client details page. Right, so this was also built in within the template, which is another page over here, which is the client details. And you can see it opens in a modal. So remember when we clicked on a client earlier, it opened that panel on the right-hand side. That's what you call a modal. You can also set it to open in a new tab, or you can open it in the same tab. I'll just leave it as the default. Okay, and let's go to our client details and edit this page. You can see it's currently got the default stuff. So I'm just going to remove this at the bottom. I'm going to hide this. Okay, and I'm only going to set these two. Right, so what have we got here? If we click here, we can see it's the same thing. However, the reason there's two of them is because there's different permissions assigned to each block. So if I click on the top one and I go to visibility, we can see this is what the admin is able to see about this client. If I click on this block and go to visibility, this is what all logged in users are able to see regarding this client. Right, we can also see what are the page level permissions. If you logged in, you can see the client details. Let's add a level of restriction. So instead of saying all logged in users are able to see the client details, we only want the employees to be able to see these client details. It's only the employees will be able to see the client details. I can also just add admin over here, and then we don't actually need to have two blocks. So I'm going to have employee and admin. I'll click save, and I'll come and delete this top block. Delete, yes. Great. So now we only have one. So now within this block, we can go and connect our data source. So I'm going to go choose our futurized dummy data. And then within here, once again, we're going to user details. Great. And then you don't need to set any conditional filters here because we already set it previously. When you're clicking on one of the items in the clients, it's going to take you to the client details page. And that setting basically sends the data from that item you clicked to this page. All right. Then you can go to content and you can select what of the client details do you want to display here. So I usually just like to delete everything that is currently showing and then click add field and then just enable everything. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the text of the company name bigger. So instead of it being a text type, I'm going to set it to H1 heading. So now it's bigger. For the website, we want to click that and we want that to be clickable. So we want that to be a URL. For the email, it's already set to email, so it detected that for us. Person ID, you can set that to a tag. Person name, we'll just leave that as text. Phone number, we'll leave that as text. Role, maybe we'll just drag this up so that we know the role is referring to Mike Johnson over there, then his phone number, and then there's the website. Might be better maybe to put the phone number and the email address next to each other. Just seems like, oh no, that's the website, email and phone. Maybe I'll put the company, then I'll put the person name over there, and then the role, and then the email, the phone, the person ID. Person ID is probably the least important, so I'll put it right at the bottom. Maybe I won't even show the person ID. Actually, no, it's fine. I'll keep it there for now. Cool. And now if we come and view how this works, I'm going to click refresh. All right, remember, if you want to see the client details, you need to click this drop down, and then we need to be an employee because we only assigned permissions to employees and admin to see the client details. So if I come to clients and then I click on Vesper, there is our client details showing nicely in that right panel. Awesome stuff. So that worked just as we wanted it to. What you can also do is you can set it to be able to edit this data over here. You can see currently it's static. And if you want to change something here, you don't want to go back to the master data and come and change the details over here. They provide you the functionality to do that, and that is under actions over here. So if I click on actions, you can see there is a button called edit. So if I click this, I'm then able to click edit record. Within here, I'm just going to delete all these fields, and then I'll click add field, and I'll enable all these fields that we want to be able to edit. All right, if there's something you don't want to be able to edit, for example, there maybe the person ID, you can leave that disabled so that it never changes. You can also then apply the permissions to this specific button. So if I click here, let's see who can view it. So currently, only a client can see it. Remember, we don't want the client to be able to edit their own data. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to only choose employee, or maybe not even employees. Let's say only the admin can actually change the details of the client. Or actually, no, it's fine. Let's go admin and employees. So let's say an employee finds out maybe their phone number changed, or the email address changed, or the contact person changes. They'll be able to come click this edit button and change that. So let me demo this to you. If I come here and I click refresh, we're currently previewing as an employee, which means we should be able to edit. So if I come to Vesper, now there is an edit button. I can click that, and you can see now I can come in here and I can type whatever I want, okay, in all these fields. So let's say the phone number changes. I can then click save. So now the number ends in 555, and that would then also update our master data over here. So if I come to Sarah from Vesper, you can see the number now ends in 555, which means the update was made directly to the Google Sheet for us. All right, now that we have set up the client, let's go ahead and set up the team. All right, so you can imagine it's a very similar process. What I would recommend is pause the video and go and try this out for yourself. All right, it would be a nice practice activity since you've already seen how I did the client setup. So it's very similar, but if not, I will run through it quickly to show you how to set all of this up. Okay, so you want to click on the team block, futurize dummy data for the document, and then choose our user details. We're then going to have to apply a conditional filter where we want to filter the person ID to contain the letter E for employee. Click add. Okay, cool. So now if we come over here, click refresh, I'm then going to go and click on the team. So the employees and the client should be able to see the team. Great, that looks good. What I'd also recommend is I would want these images to avoid having this white margin at the top and the bottom. We want it to actually fill the entire square. So you can actually go and change that setting. You can click on the block, go to content, then you can click on photo, and then you can click on this little paintbrush. And then the cover media, click this drop down, and the image fit, instead of it being contain, it must be cover. All right, and then you can see it removed all those white margins. Let me just show you contain versus cover. All right, looks much cleaner, much more professional. And then you can even change the aspect ratio. So instead of having these big squares, I'm going to have maybe a mid-sized rectangle. Great. And that looks good. Then I'm just going to delete these two fields. The cover tag, I'll keep that for now. I'm only going to include the person name for the team member. And then for the tag, I'm going to assign their, maybe their person ID. And then I'll also add their role just below their name. Let's make the person's name bigger. Can click on person name. Then over here by the HTML type, we want to go to H1. Cool. And you can see it's also got like the little title role over there. If you want to remove that, you can just click on role and remove the label like that. It'll look a little bit more professional. Let's go see what this looks like. We refresh this. Should be a big improvement now. There you go. Much better. Next thing is you can see there's also a search bar. If I scroll down here, you can see you can choose what you want to search by. So you can search by the company, the person ID, the person name. So if you want to search by their role, you wouldn't ever really search by their phone number or photo or website or email. So I guess it's probably fine to leave it at that because those are the only fields you'd search by. So let me show you how that works. If I come here and I want to search for the RPA developers, in this case, the team's small, so you don't need to search. But if you go RPA, it's only going to show Aiden Smith over here. Right, next within the team, if I come to actions over here, you can see there's a button where you can add a teammate, right? And that's only restricted to the admin to be able to add new employees. So to configure that, you just click add template and then you come add record. And then I'm just going to delete all of these. Those are the default ones it comes with. I'm going to click add field and then I'm going to enable all of these. Cool. So this is how I would then add a new team member. If I come here to refresh, the employees aren't going to have access. So because I'm currently signed in as an employee, you can see there's no button to add a team member. But if I come to myself, who has admin permissions, I'm just going to click don't show again. Okay. You can see because I'm an admin, I can click add team member and I can come and populate all these fields, then click add and it'll add in a new team member and I'll add it over here as a new row. So I can just demo that for you quickly. I'm just going to type in some garbage data, click add. Oh, the reason it's not showing is because remember we are filtering this team member to have E. So if I come here, I'm just going to make sure that this is actually like E something, E004, right? It would be something like that. Then I come back here, it should show. Sometimes if I refresh, it's probably not going to work. I think what you have to do is you need to come back to Softr, go to the source, click this refresh button on the document. It should then pull in the new data. Now, if we come here and refresh the page, and you can see there is our new teammate. All right, and you click into it, and we should be able to see all the details. All right, the reason it's not showing the details for the team member is because we haven't actually set that up yet. So that's what we'll do now. But I don't want this here, so I actually want to delete this. I'm going to click delete. Let me show you about to delete the template. I'm going to say delete. Okay, and let's see what happens. Great, it deleted it. And that's because we have an action over here where it's set to delete a record. So that's where that functionality was handled. So you can see if one of these tiles on the team is clicked, it's going to navigate to the person profile page. Okay, and it's going to open in a modal like we just saw. If I come back to pages, we want to go to person profile. And this is where you can set up a whole lot of details. So you can see there's some repetition here, and that's because this one is visible to the admin and the employees. I'm assuming so it's this one. Then this one is visible to the client only. Okay, this basically means that you only want to show your client certain information. So for example, maybe you don't want to show your client maybe the employee's phone numbers. You only want to share their email addresses. Whereas within the internal team, you want to share everything with each other. For example, skills, phone, email, etc. So let me show you how we set this up. I'll click on the first one, source, document, futurized dummy data, sheet, user details. Okay, You don't need to set any conditional filters here. Then under content, so for the heading, we can map it to the person's name. So that's the team member's name. And in the sections below that, I'm just going to delete all of these and then add field and enable everything. You can see you can also edit these details over here. So that would be in the action settings over here. You can see there's edits for what the admin can edit, and there's edit settings for what the employee can edit. So let's do that quickly. Edit record, delete all of these, enable everything. So this means the admin's able to edit everything. Okay, and then for the employee then should only be able to edit certain fields such as maybe email address, person name. Well, I don't see why you changed the name, but maybe there's a spelling error, phone number, role, website. Cool, so let's go test this out. If I come here, refresh, okay, you can click on here, and then you can click this edit button, and you can then edit all those fields, right? And that's as the admin. If I go to an employee like Aiden is now able to edit his data over there. What you can also do is you can show which project's currently busy on. And the way we do that is by using our project details. So you can see within projects, we have this tab which shows which team members are working within that project. All right, so it actually includes the project manager's name and the team members. So what you would do is within project over here, you would select the dummy data. And now instead of choosing user details like we would before, we're going to choose project details. And it's going to show all the projects by default. We're going to come to conditional filters, and only if within here there was the team field. Where is team? I'm just going to search team. There it is. If the team contains, and then we're going to have not the logged in user, because you are able to click on any of the team members to see what projects they're working on. So you want to choose the current record. So that's the selected team member that it's on that page. So it's the current records, person ID. Okay, so that's basically saying whichever current record is on this page over here, if it's included in this value, then return that project, else exclude it. So that's basically what's happening over here. We probably also want to add another condition here where not only if it's a team member that's in that list, but we also want the project managers to see the project managers working on it. So I'm going to click add condition. I'm going to say instead of and, it must be an any, which means it's or, right? So this or this must be true when showing a project. So if the project manager is the current records project manager or person name, right? It'll then also include those projects. Best practice, what should have been done is the project manager's ID should have been included in the team. All right, but in this case, because it's not, we have to do it like that. Okay, so now if we come here, refresh this, and then click within a team member, we can see all of Aiden's details, we can edit his details, and there are his two projects, HR onboarding bot and data entry automation. And it's always good to just do a sanity check, HR and data entry. We come here, Aiden, if we look over here, Aiden is E001. So if we come here to project details, you can see Aiden's in two rows. E001 is in the HR onboarding and E001 is in the data entry. That worked perfectly. Cool. So the other thing you would just need to do is apply the same setup to these two blocks over here. I'm not going to repeat it, or it's just going to be a waste of time, but you would know how to go ahead and set that up. The only difference is that this is for what the client can edit or what the clients can see. All right, so maybe you would just show less details about that team member to that client. Okay, so for example, you might exclude their ID, because that's like an internal data item, which the client doesn't really care about. Now that we've set up the person profile details, we can move on, and let's now go set up our projects. All right, this should be very familiar since we just set up the projects on this page here. So we can see there's two blocks. The first block is for the client and employee visibility, and the other project is for the admin. So the admin's not going to have any conditions. This is going to show all the projects, and this one's only going to show the projects that that specific client or employee is working on. Okay, so to do that, we can click on the first block, select our dummy data, and then within the sheet, we want to choose our project details. Then we want to add some filters, okay? So some conditional filters. So only if the company is the logged in users, in this case, the logged in user would be a client. So only if the company is the logged in user's company should it show that project. Okay, we can add another condition, or if the project manager, if we're looking at our project details, if the project manager is the logged in user's name, or, and this one's important, is if the team member's user ID that's logged in is included inside the cell. Team contains the logged in user's person ID. Then we can go to the content and just clean this up a bit. Because this is project, we can come here and map that to the project name. Cool. We can maybe add the project manager just below that. And then for the tag, maybe we can put the status. So let's go check this out. I'm going to click refresh. So who are we now? We're currently Aiden, which is an employee. I'm going to go to projects. And we can see there is Aiden's two projects. So we know that's working because we checked that earlier. The tag over there, it shouldn't be showing that. Let's go see what's wrong. We probably haven't mapped it. Okay, so we have to map that to, let's map that to the status. Okay. And then we can remove the status from this item field over here. So I'll delete that. Come back here, refresh. That should look good now. That looks great. Awesome. So if we click into these projects, it should show us all the project details. So there's all the project details. It's currently all empty. Let's go and populate that. So to see where to do that, you want to come to actions, and it's going to tell you that it's the project details page. Okay, because that's what opens when one of these items are clicked. Also, by the way, we just need to set this up quickly. So just make sure you set up, this is for the admin project details. The quicker way to actually do this is to actually delete this, duplicate this, then within here, go and remove all these conditions, and then change the visibility to have only the admin have access. That's a much quicker way. So now if I refresh, it's always good to just actually test and make sure it's doing what you want it to be doing. So I'm just going to go to my admin view, projects, and because I'm the admin, I should be able to see all of them. 6 projects, and just to double check, yep, there's 6 projects. Also, I noticed that this user is still over here, so I'm just going to come and delete this row. Okay, we don't need that. That was just for testing earlier. All right, so next step is we now want to go and set up the project details. So I'll come here, go to pages, project details. Okay, there's a whole lot of stuff to set up here at the bottom. So I'm just going to hide this, and I'm only going to keep it simple and show the basic details. So I'm going to connect our data, project details. You don't need to create any conditions. Under content, you can come here and delete all of these, add fields, enable all of these, exclude the ones you don't want, but based on what I've seen, I think it's fine to include all of them. Actually, I see I included all of these in the top section over here, whereas I actually want to include all of those over here in the below section. So I'm actually going to come back here and add all the fields there, because this is where it includes all the details. And I'm only going to exclude in the bottom, I'm going to exclude the project name and the project description. And in the top section, I'm going to delete everything and only keep the project name and project description. And what else? Maybe I'll also just add the status of the project as a tag, because that always looks good. And then I'll make this header 1, make this maybe what, header 3. So there you go. So now it's got the header invoice automation. So that's the name of the project, the description of the project, which it's getting pulled in from, if I come here, it's the description field over there. Then it's got all the fields populated over there. That looks good. Then we can set the actions. If I come to actions, we can either edit or delete. So the delete one's already configured. So we only need to come here to edit record. You want to make sure you delete all of these, the default stuff, click add field, and allow editing. If there's anything you don't want to be able to edit within the project, just disable that. And remember, the permissions on here is the admin. So only the admin is able to actually edit the project details. Cool. So that looks good. Let's go check if this is working. Refresh. Cool. There's our project details. Looks good. Can click edit. And I can come here and edit anything if I want to change the status. So notice that the status here is just text in progress. If we want this to be a drop-down, you can do that. So to do that, you'd come to edit, and by edit record, you'd come to status. And then instead of it being text, you would choose drop-down. And then within the drop-down, you can choose the options, or you can enter the options. So we know these are the options here: in progress, in review, to do, and done. So we can write to do, enter, in progress, in review, and done. You can also enable this if you allow multiple selections. In this case, we don't want to allow that because you only want to choose one status at a time. And cool, you can label it whatever you want. We'll leave it as status. And now if we come back and I refresh this, that status isn't going to be text anymore. Edit, scroll down, and you can see now it's a drop down where I can choose, okay, now it's actually done. Click save. Project updated. If I come to projects, you can see it's been set to done. There you go. Let's also just make sure that editing is only available at the admin level. So if I come here and I go to, say, Aiden, who's an employee, he shouldn't have permission. So you can see the edit button's not there. And that's because on the edit button, we have a visibility setting over here where only the admin can edit that project detail. Great. All right. So now that we have set up the projects, I'm also going to set up the tasks. All right. So you can see if I come here to client, we can see by default that there is a My Task sections, and this is where the clients can execute tasks that have been assigned to them. So what I'm going to set up here is I want to be able to have a Kanban over here where there are tasks assigned to the users or to the clients. And then I also want, you can see currently if I go to employee, there's no My Tasks over there. So I want to enable permissions where the employees can also manage the project and their tasks from this client portal, almost like a project management tool. So if I come here, I'm going to go to pages, and I'm going to go to My Tasks. Let's go see if there's any page level settings. No, so it's currently set to everyone. So that means the issue must be here on the My Tasks. So if I scroll down, My Tasks, I click that setting there. So you can see it's only set to the client and the freelancer. So I'm also going to add the employee and maybe even the admin. Can do that. So one selected user group is disabled. All right, that's fine. That's because it's on the trial plan over here. If you're on the professional plan, which I actually am, I am subscribed, but for some reason it still shows the trial days left, even though I'm subscribed to the professional plan. But anyway, that's how you set that. That means now the employees, if I refresh this, should be able to see the My Tasks here. Let's see if that worked. Yes, great. So now there's My Tasks. Next, we want to actually set the data to show all our tasks. And inside here, we have all our task details with the task name, task description, who the task is assigned to, etc. So if I come back here, go to my tasks, select our document, choose task details, and then we want to add a condition, and only if the assigned to IDs contains the logged in user's person ID. And that is going to only show whether it's an employee or whether it's a client or the admin. It's only going to show their respective tasks that have been assigned to them. All right, so let's check that out. There are all of Aiden's tasks. Okay, it's a little bit messy. We're going to need to clean that up. If I come to content, I'm going to clean all this up. And we just want the task name, and we want that task name to be a header. Okay. We want to remove the label of the task name. And then what other fields do we want to include? Maybe task name, maybe the status. Can include the status, and the status, we want to include that as a tag. And then maybe also something that's important is the due date of that task. All right, I will include the label for due date. I think that's important. I'll remove the label for the status, and for the task name, maybe H2. All right, let's go check this out. If I refresh this, awesome, there's our tasks. Okay, if we want to change the styling of the statuses to be a little bit more colorful, let's go do that. So I'm going to come here within the status. I'm going to click on this little paintbrush. So let's go change this and make it maybe a nice orange, make it a little bit thicker. Maybe the text, let's also come change the text to that same color orange. Paste that in. There you go. Cool, that looks good. So you can see here under actions, we have drag and drop enabled, which means a user should be able to come here, and once they've completed a task, like maybe now it's in progress instead of to do, they can just move it like that. So I'm going to show you a really slick example of how you can send a task to a client for them to do for you, and it'll then add that to their task list. So to do that, we want to add a button. Let's add a top bar button, and it's going to add a record. Okay, and the record we want to add a new task, and we can come here to add fields, and you can enable all of these, and these are all the different fields that are required for a task. Okay, you can reorder them. Maybe the task name goes to the top, just for clearer thought process when populating it. Assigned to names should actually be excluded, and that's because that's a formula that happens directly inside of Sheets. All right, so I'm going to exclude assigned to names, and we're only going to assign directly to the IDs. Attachments, we don't need that because that's something a user would upload or a client would upload. Due date, that's important. Project ID, that's important. Project name, that's important. Status, that's important. Cool, the status, we'd probably also want this to be a drop down, and we also want our options to be the same as before, so I'll populate those. You want to click enter after typing each one, and then it adds in that new option tag. Okay, and let's see who has control. So we want this, currently anyone can go and add a record or a new task. We don't want clients to be able to do that. So we only want admins and employees to be able to actually add a new task, or else that button shouldn't be visible. Cool. So that looks good. Let's go preview, refresh. Aiden is an employee, so it means that add task button should be there. Yes, add record. Instead of add record, let's go give it a better name. Under actions, add record, I'm going to call it add task. Refresh. Great. So there's our add task button, and there's now our add new record. We can also go change that wording if we want, but we can come and create a new task over here. So let me show you how this works. Let's call it send me your logo. We're going to assign it to C001. And also the person who's busy populating this, which is Aiden. Aiden also wants to see the status of what's going on with that task. So let's also assign it to Aiden. Where's Aiden? E001. We add a semicolon. The due date, you can say we need this by Tuesday. And the status is to do. Okay, so I'm going to click add. Okay, so we can see now there's a new task added, which is attach your logo. What we should have done is maybe written client task or something like that, so that the employee knows that this is for the client to do. So if we come here and we go to Mike, let me just search for Mike Johnson at Starbucks. I come here, you can see there is the attach your logo. So you can see it's been assigned to him now to do. And you can click on that, and on this panel on the right hand side, he'd be able to then attach his logo. All right, so you can see there's a comment section over here. I'm going to show you how to set all of that up in the next step. Okay, so there's two things we're going to do now. First, I'm going to show you how to set up the task details page, which is similar to the other details page. So we'll go through that quickly. Second, I'm going to show you how you can upload an attachment if you are a client, and how you can download that attachment if you are an employee. Then I'm going to show you how to set up the comment section so that within the task, the team can go into that specific task and you can speak to each other and you can collaborate within that comment section. Okay, so let's start off with, if you click on this, it should open that side panel with all the task details. Okay, so if I come to action, scroll down, you can see it goes to the task details page. So if I go to pages, task details, here's the task details. I'm going to click this. I'm going to choose our dummy data, choose task details as our sheet. Okay, you don't need to set a filter. Then come to content. Then in the top section, I'll only include the tag, which is the status of the project. And then for the heading, I'll map that to the task name and the description, task description, something like that. If we come here to section 1, let's just delete all of these default fields and add in all of these other fields. Cool stuff. All right, if we come to actions, you can see we have the option to edit a record. So once again, you want to do the same thing, delete all those fields, add fields, and check the fields that you want to be able to edit. Great, then you click the update button. It says the record has been successfully updated. Let's just change that to task, just for a better user experience. Update task, that looks good. So let's go test this out, just make sure it's working. So if I come here, within the task, you can click on it, and then it should show all the details of the task. Cool, there's the name, edit, should be able to edit the task over there. You'll notice there's an attachment field over here. That shouldn't be required. That should be optional. So let's go and come to attachments and disable this required field. So that's because only a client will upload an attachment. Now I'm going to add a button here for the clients to be able to add an attachment. And I'll also add a button that's only visible to the employees for them to be able to download that attachment. So let's start with the uploading of the attachment. Back in Softr Studio, you can come to actions and let's go create a new action. So you want to click add item button. What we want to do is we want to actually update a record because we're uploading an attachment. So we want to go to edit record, and the record we want to edit is the attachment. And in this case, we'll keep it required. We can maybe just choose an icon. So let's go with a paperclip icon for an attachment, and the label is add attachment. We also want to add a permission over here where this button should only be visible by clients. So only a client should be able to add an attachment. So if we come back here and refresh this, so currently Mike at Starbucks is a client. So if we click on attach your logo, there is add attachment, can click that, and then let me just think, I might have done something wrong. Oh, I see the issue. So basically we have the attachments, and it's currently set to a URL, but it needs to be a file. Okay, so if I close this, now when you come back here and the client tries to add something, so they come add an attachment, now there's this upload file button, and then they can add their logo. But anyway, let me go and show you how to set it up for the employee to go and download it. So if I come back here, so we're going to add another action, which is going to download a file, and it's going to be download attachment as the name. Okay, and this should only be visible by logged in users who are either the admin or the employee. Then for the icon, we can set that to maybe this download button. So now if we come here and I refresh that and we go to preview as an employee, like Aiden Smith, and I go to attach your logo, you would be able to then click this download attachment button and then download that file. Let me go and first configure this leave a comment. Maybe it'll solve that error that we're getting on this page. So for the source, I'm going to go choose our dummy data. And this time we want to choose comments for the sheet. All right. You'll notice I created a separate sheet here called comments with a task ID, commenter, comment, and date. And then we can map all of those. So the comment ID, the commenter, this is a comment field, and then comment date, this is the date, and then how many comments per page. We can leave these as the default. Let's go and test this out. So I'll click refresh. Let's go to this task over here as an employee, and let's go write a comment. So Aiden is going to say, please remember to send logo comment, and there it has now added the comment. Cool, so that seemed to work, and let's go try upload that logo now, see if it's going to work. Add attachment, upload. Let's choose this OpenAI operator. There you go. Cool, and you can actually upload multiple different files. You can click update, and there you go. So you can see under attachments, it's added these two attachments. For the attach your logo task, if I come here, there is the comment from earlier. And if we go to the task details, here is the attach your logo task, and there is the attachments. Right, so you can open it directly from here, or directly in here, we can go to Aiden Smith, who assigned the task, attach your logo. And now that it's been uploaded, he'll have this button to then download the attachment. So if he clicks that, it should then appear in his downloads folder. Let's see. Did that work? Okay, the download attachment button doesn't seem to be working. Let me just double check what's going on here. So within actions, download attachment, download file. Oh, I see. We didn't configure it. So the file link we need to download is the attachments. There you go. And then the message is file downloaded. So now if we come back here, refresh, now we should be able to actually download that. Download attachment. And there you go. Awesome. So that worked just as we wanted it to. If we come to like another task over here, you'll see that download attachment button won't be there. And that's because the field for the attachment is empty. So it'll only show you the button if it's not empty. Great. So that's actually a really great user experience to collaborate and send files and attachments between the employees and the clients. Next, I'm going to show you how you can handle payments within Softr. All right. So what's really cool about Softr is they have a whole bunch of blocks that you can add. So if you're building from scratch, you generally come here to this button which says add block, and then there are a whole bunch of very beautiful blocks. There's forms, and what you want to do is you want to come to payment here, and you can actually add a simple billing block. All right, so you can see here this one's powered by Stripe, and if you click that, you can see you can actually charge subscriptions or once-off payments, whatever the case is, directly within Softr over here. To set this up, you'd use the integration. So under settings, you can go to integrations, and then you can go to Stripe, and then you can enter your publishable Stripe key from your Stripe account, and then also paste your secret key over there. And then you can configure these parameters, and basically you'll have payments set up. All right. So you'd usually just come to pages and you'll probably set up another payment page, but I'm just going to delete this because we're not going to use it. How I did it is I just have a separate link. So here we have payment links. So for each invoice in our invoice page, we have a checkout link. So if you click that, it'll take you to a separate link. So within Stripe, you can create checkout links. Why is that not working? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. You would just come here and you'd paste in your checkout links that you get from Stripe or from any payment processor that you use. So the way I'm going to show you that it's going to apply to any payment processor. You don't have to use Stripe or PayPal or whatever. You can use absolutely any payment processor that allows you to have a checkout page. You can even just send them to a link with your payment details or your banking details for a wire transfer, if that's the way you accept payments. But let me go show you how to set up the actual invoices page. So you can go to pages, go to invoices. Okay, so you can see we have invoices that the admin can see, which should be all of them. And then we have the invoices that only the client sees, which is their own invoices. So for the admin invoices, we're just going to come choose the dummy data, and then the sheet, we're going to choose the invoice details, and then we don't apply any conditions or any filters because we want to, as the admin, you want to see every single invoice. Then if you're the client, you want to also connect the invoice details, but then we want to apply a filter, which only if, and if we look at the data, so only if the client ID is the logged in user's person ID. All right. And then what that should do is that should limit the invoices to only show clients' invoices. So if I come to a client over here, let's see if it's going to show the invoices on the left. There it is. If I click that, it should only show this client's invoice. Okay, so it says there's no open invoices, so maybe Mike doesn't have any, but that's client number 1, which means he should. C001 is Mike, yes. So it actually should be showing this. So let's go see what's wrong. Oh, I think I forgot to click refresh. Refresh. Great, there it is. So we have client number 1, we have the project. All right, so this is some dummy data. We want to go fix that. So within both of these, we want to go to content, remove all the dummy data that came with the template, and add in the fields we care about, like something like that. Maybe on the actions here, if they click the 3 dots, actions, we can have a make payment. So we can add an item and we can say open a URL, and we can call this one pay. And then we can choose an icon for maybe this wallet, and the URL should be the payment link, and that should open in a new tab, not in the same tab. So we come back here, click refresh. There's the client details. Oh, that's not working. I think maybe I just need to refresh it again. Oh, I know why. That's because the settings that we changed over here were for the admin. All right, so we don't actually need this pay button for the admin because the payments only get done by the client. So this can actually be deleted. And then within this is where we need to come and do the same thing we did before on the other block. Add in the fields. Okay, client name, amount, blah, 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 payment link. We'll delete that one. Then we'll go to actions, and then over here, we'll say open URL, and then we'll make this one called pay. We'll make payment. The icon is this wallet, and it sends them to the payment link. Cool, which is the link that we had over there. So let's test this out. This should now work. If I refresh, there you go. There's all the fields. So we have these 3 dots. If we click that, we can click make payment, and then it should. So you can see it opened in the same tab. We want it to open in the new tab. Okay, refresh. Make payment. There you go. Cool. So looks like it's an expired link or something. Doesn't really matter, but the concept is there. You'd send it to a Stripe checkout page. Okay. We can also see that these payment received and payment sent are set to text false. Let's go make that look a little bit better. Instead of it just being text saying false, let's go change these to checkboxes. Payment sent, checkbox. So now if we view these, instead of it saying false, it should just be a line. Great, so it's just a line. And then if you click these three dots, you click mark payment sent. It should then check that. We might need to actually configure that. So we'll come back here, go to actions, mark payment sent, one click update. And then the field we want to change is the payment sent. All right. Replace existing value with, we can just say maybe true, and click add. Okay. So now, looks like I just closed that by mistake. Reopen it, refresh this. Let's click these three dots, mark payment sent, and you can now see it's checked. So this is for invoice 001. If we come here, invoice 001, we can see payment sent is now set to true. Right, so now it's up to the responsibility of the admin to come and mark this as payment received. So coming back here on the admin, remember this is the admin one, we can go to the actions, and by mark payment received, we can go to one click update, add field, and then payment received, and set that to true. Click add. All right. So basically what would happen is once you've seen the payments reflected in your bank account, in your Stripe account, whatever the case is, the admin would then come and approve it. So you'll see it's not available here. That's because we're in the client view. But if we go to Leon, which is the admin, who has access to see all the invoices, so it says payment received. Yeah, this payment sent is true. That's for invoice number 1. Okay, let's go mark this one as payment received. So you can see it's currently false. Payment received. That should change. There you go. It's now changed to true. If you look at the master data, there you can see it added that true over there. What I'd also recommend is just coming here and also changing these payment received to checkboxes. That looks good. Oh, not rating. Great. Great. So now that I've shown you how we can set up payments, the next thing that I'm going to show you is how to actually create a brand new page from scratch and how to use custom blocks. So let's say, for instance, we want to also have a field in our portal where you collect client feedback. All right. So you want a place where the client can go and provide feedback. Maybe they're not happy with something. And then there's also a way for the admin to actually view all that feedback. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to pages. I'm going to click this plus to create a new page, and I'm going to call this feedback. That's good. We'll click save. Okay. Then within this block, if I scroll down, we want to click add page, and then we want to select the feedback page we just created. And we can see that's right at the bottom over there. Let's actually set this as a secondary one. So I'm just going to drag and drop this down here. And we have schedule meeting over there. I'm going to delete that. We're not going to have anything for scheduling meetings. We'll just have this feedback page. Cool. So we've added our feedback. Remember, whenever you create a new page, within your page, you want to come to settings, visibility, and change who can see it. So we're only going to want logged in users to be able to see the feedback. And we want to limit that to only the admin and the client himself. Okay, we'll also then add block level permissions that only the client can see and only the admin can see, but the actual page should be able to be seen by both. Cool. Oh, let me click save. I'm also just going to drag this just all the way down here. Okay, and here we are. So now we have an empty page. You can click this plus button to add a block, or you can click this plus button over here. And then let's search for a form, or we can come to forms and let's choose, maybe we can go with a side text or just a centered form, or maybe just a single question, since it's just feedback, right? Let's go with that. Single question. And then we want to connect this to our sheet, and we want to connect this to our feedback sheet. So if I come here, we can see we have a feedback sheet, which takes the full name, the email address, and the feedback. All right, so I'm just going to delete this over here. Delete rows, it's nice and empty. We can change the form layout. Maybe we just have a centered form with no image. That looks better. Okay, let's go to the questions. Section 1, heading 1, question. Let's say this feedback. And then the subtext, we can say, what can we improve? That looks good. Can add another input field. Let's include the feedback, the email, and the full name. Let me delete this. Add in the feedback like that. What can we improve? I'll put that as placeholder text. And that looks good. Or let's just set up the success messages. Thank you for submitting the form. We'll say thank you for your feedback. Styles, visibility. So this form should only be visible by logged in clients. Okay, because only clients are giving feedback. Okay, let's go check this out. Come here, refresh. And we can go to feedback. Okay, so currently I'm on my admin over here, so that's why I see nothing. We haven't set anything up there. So let's go to client. The client can now see this page. We can add in some details. Just going to put in some dummy data over here. Bad service, whatever. Spelled that wrong, doesn't really matter. Let's submit, make sure it worked. Thank you for your feedback. We'll get back to you ASAP. It refreshed the fields. Come back here, and there is the feedback. Awesome. So that's exactly what we wanted. Now what we also want to do is we want to only show the feedback to the admin. Let's just go make sure that employees aren't able to see any feedback. Yes, permission denied. That's good. Okay, so we can see this feedback button is still visible to Aiden, which isn't good. So let's just fix that quickly. Within the feedback here, we can click set visibility, only logged in users who are either admin or client. Great. So now if I refresh this, that feedback button should be gone. Great, it's gone. So back to admin. So currently you can see admin's got nothing here. So let's go set that up. Let's go add in a new block that's only visible to the admin. So I'll click add block, maybe a grid, table. Let's maybe use a table instead. I think that's better. Select our feedback sheet. The condition is going to be applied here. So only if the logged in user is an admin should this block be visible. And the content should include, delete all the standard fields, and include the email, feedback, and full name. Yeah, that looks good. Cool. The order, maybe we can go put the full name first, then the email, then the feedback. Cool. And that looks fine. Add record. We don't really need to add a record because you're not going to add feedback because it's an admin who's seeing this. Title and description. We can just give this a title saying client feedback. And a subtitle. Won't have a subtitle. We'll leave that blank. Cool. Let's go make sure this is working. Click refresh. Cool. There's the feedback. And it's only available on the client. If I come to an employee, that should not be, yeah, great. Permission denied. Exactly what we wanted. Only thing I'll change maybe here is under feedback. Let's go change the little icon over here. So instead of it being a paperclip, let's use something, let's search feedback, see what comes up. Maybe like this speakerphone or bell. Yeah, let's go with that one. So let's see what other pages we also have. We also have this My Profile over here where you might want to go and actually edit your profile or your details. So a good place to add that would probably be over here at the bottom. You have account settings and the sign out button. Maybe we have a My Profile over there. So to get that, you click this left pane over here, scroll down to the bottom, and here under user menu, we can see there's account settings, sign out, and we can also add one. So we can add a page, and the page you want to select is My Profile. So I'll select that, and it should open the page My Profile in the same tab. That looks good. My Profile, let's use like a little user icon, something like that. And then within this needs to be the dummy data. Then we need to select the sheet, which is user details. And this needs to be the current user. So we need to add a condition if the person ID is the logged in user's person ID. And then that should show the current user's details over there. Then for the content, we have their photo, which is already mapped. Then we can add the other fields, which is all of these. That looks good enough. Then the main thing is the person's name. So we actually want this to be the header. We want that to be at the top. And actually over here is where we want to put all the details in this second section. It'll look a little bit better. So I'll put all of these except the person name. I'll keep the person name and the company at the top. And then I'll delete everything else. Like that. Person name, the company. There's a whole bunch of details. So if we click over here, click on My Profile, that should now show us Aidan's profile. There you go. Fantastic. Then for editing his profile, you can see it says the field name is not mapped to anything. You can fix this in Studio. So if you see that error, you always just need to come here, go to Actions, and you change something here. So we can see there's edit settings for what admins can edit, and then there's edit settings for what the employee and clients can edit. Anyone to be able to edit is their person ID. So we'll keep that unchecked, and everything else there should be able to edit. Cool. Whereas if you're an admin, you should be able to edit everything. So if I come add field, admin should be able to edit their person ID. Cool. So now if we come here, refresh. So let's say his role is now RPA like analyst or something. Can come here, change that to RPA analyst, and then click save. And then that should change the user's details. There you go, it says RPA analyst. In our master data, we come here and we go to Aidan, and we can see he is now an RPA analyst. Awesome. So that worked. The last thing I would probably go and do is maybe just delete any pages we're not using, but looking through here, maybe contract, we haven't used contract, so I would come and delete that or set it as draft. If you want to use it later, we're not going to use that. Team, person profile, resources, we're not using that, so I'll set that as draft. Schedule meeting, set that as draft. Feedback we created. The sign-in page, what I would do here is I would come and update the logo so that it's using my company image. So we can use this asset. Okay. Everything else seems fine. The sign-in is all configured. This is all set up for us within the template. Visibility for non-logged in users makes sense. Cool. Maybe the login page. Let's go see what we need to do there. It already pulled in the logo for us. We can remove this. Let's see if there's a way to change that style. So there's a background image, side section. Yeah, let's remove that image. That looks better. Nice and clean. Last thing you can do is just click here to add a custom domain. So you can buy a domain from like GoDaddy or Namecheap, paste it in there. You'll then need to add in some DNS records to configure it. If you do have any questions about how to set this up, you can feel free to ask me in the comments. Another really nifty feature on the professional plan is you can come here and go to mobile app, and you can put in some details of your app name. So it would be something like Futurized Portal. All right, you can upload your icon, and then what would happen is it would add the app as a progressive web app on a user's device. It'll show them they need to click this little button on iPhone and click add to home screen, and then it'll add a little icon and it'll make it seem like your website is an actual application that was downloaded from the App Store. So that makes it nice and accessible for your team, for your employees, and for your clients to have quick access to your client portal. Yeah, that's basically all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this. I hope you now feel well prepared to go ahead and build a client portal for your own business. If you'd like to download this template and that spreadsheet, the links will be included in the description of this video. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next.